we've been looking through some of the comments you guys have made, and we're going to pick out some of the best ones you guys have each week so we can respond to them. So one of our comments was a question about Jared McCain and his summer league performances so far. So I want to ask you guys, the question was, anybody else concerned about McCain missing so much, or am I tripping? Are Sixers fans, or what do you guys think? Are Sixers fans right to be concerned about this?
It's interesting because even when games when he hasn't had a really good percentage, outside of, I guess, maybe that first one where he didn't have a good percentage, he shot well early. And then it's kind of like percentage went down as the game went on. The one thing I do like, he's not shying away from it. His willingness to shoot it. Sometimes that's, guys don't want to say kids. Guys being reluctant to shoot can be an issue. That reluctancy doesn't seem to be there with him. That's a positive. I would say his history of being a guy that can knock down shots will be the more likely trend. I think when he's playing with the full group, he'll be more consistent because I think he'll get better shots and his shot selection will improve. So I don't really have as much concern because I think his shot selection will get better and he'll be more consistent because of that. He'll get more wide open shots. He'll get more clean looks. Now, he still has to knock them down, but I believe in time that his percentage will improve because of shot selection and the better opportunities that he'll get playing alongside the guys on the team.
Yeah, I'm not worried yet. I mean, it's way too early to worry. He hit the clutch free throws in that game, even after a rough shooting game. So, he can still shoot. He was 9 for 9 for free throws. So we know it's not an overall shooting problem. He's just in a slump, and it's just coming at a really bad time because we're just seeing it for the first time right now. But the shots will only get easier, right? They'll only get more wide open when he plays limited minutes with like 3 all-stars when he gets on the court. So all he's got to do is just hit the open jumper. He's not going to have to create his shot nearly as much. So no, I'm not worried yet.
None of us are tripping over Jared McCain's slump so far. All right, so our next comment. This is in regards to our talk about Caleb Martin playing the 4 last week. The comment was, quote, "It's called positionless basketball. These players switch so much with pick and roll. Everyone needs to be able to handle a power forward. You don't need size. You need heart. Josh Hart is 6'4", grabbing 12 rebounds. We will be good." Comment to that, guys?
I understand his concept. I just don't agree with it. Because if the Knicks played Milwaukee and Josh Hart's not guarding Giannis, he can't guard him. Yeah. So our conversation was about the 4 teams we just talked about. Who's going to guard him? If you take away Joel, out of those 4 teams, he's the best player. He's a 2-time MVP, correct? So who's going to guard him? That's like having a guy in the league that's one of the top players in your conference, and you don't have a guy that you can be like, he's our guy that's going to have to defend Giannis. It's like we got guys that can guard Tatum. We still don't have a guy that's going to guard Brunson, and we've seen what happened with that in positionless basketball. So you can say it's positionless. So positionless is more of what guys do offensively. You still got to have guys that's going to defend that position. So just because we call Caleb Martin a 4 doesn't mean he's going to go and guard the best 4 in the league. So I'm saying I don't believe there's one guy that can specifically guard Giannis, but I do think you need someone with some size outside of Martin. Now, do I think Martin can be on him some and switch on him? Yes. But do I think you also need someone with some length to do it also? Yes. And we haven't addressed that. It's all I'm saying.
And if you look at the way our team's structured, we're going to force teams to have to play more traditional against us because Embiid is so big. So all those lineups we put up there earlier, where Randall's playing the 5 and Porzingis is playing the 5, that's cute, but they're not going to be able to roll out against us. Horford's going to come in and play a lot of minutes against Embiid. Mitch is going to have to come in and play a lot against, which is going to push everyone down, which is going to put KP at the 4, which is going to put Randall at the 4, which means you got Caleb Martin guarding 7'3" KP. That's not going to happen, right? Like that's not going to work. You're going to have Caleb Martin against Randall all game. I don't know what happened, who guarded Randall when they play each other, but I don't all game him guarding him. I don't think so. So when we are a big team because we have a big guy, right? Everyone else is kind of like positionless because they're not extremely tall, but they're long. But we have to force teams to play.
But that's what I'm saying when we're positionless. Positionless is looked at it from an offensive perspective. But I'm saying from a defensive perspective, and I'm only thinking about in the playoffs because that's what we're talking about.
Sure.
And assuming all guys are healthy and you're playing guys in a 7-game series. I still believe that we have to address the Giannis factor. Yeah. We still have to address the Brunson factor. We have to address it. Brunson basically destroyed our team just because we couldn't guard him. And we did nothing to address it.
Yep.
So I think we addressed Tatum and Brown and maybe some other wings. Yeah. I think we're good there. But we tried to put our wings on Brunson and it didn't work.
And I do agree with his sentiment about Hart with rebounding. I mean,
yes.
He had a good opportunity, by the way, to make a really good pun with the Hart thing, but he didn't do that. So negative points for that. But yeah, I agree. Hart.
I agree. No. That's what I said. I understand his concept from a standpoint of guys doing more, especially being smaller with Hart doing more. But I still didn't envision, like, even with Hart, I didn't necessarily look at Hart as the 4. I still looked at him as the 3.
Yeah.
Even though, we played with OG, or I forgot the other guy that came in as a reserve that played. They got moved to Brooklyn. He was still more of a 4. So he still didn't really have to play the 4, but then he also didn't really have to defend anything, any guy. Okay, let me say it like this. What happened when they played the Pacers? When you had a more traditional 4?
Siakam, yeah.
Their 4 was their leading scorer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Against the Knicks. That same Knicks team to beat us.
Yep.
The 4 was their leading scorer who can't score, but don't score and don't get the same amount of volume as Giannis does. Now, I know OG went out that game and he probably would have been defending him. So that's what I'm saying. So OG would have been defending him. Like I said, I understand the question, but I think positionless basketball is looked at from more of a offensive perspective. Guys being able to handle differently, bring the ball up the court, play different positions, different spots on the court. Whereas defensively, you can switch a lot and do a lot of that. But as we've seen, and I've always said it in the playoffs, you're seeing more and more guys get targeted on defense more than ever because they were kind of changing these rules a little bit, and the switching isn't really working.
Yeah.
So I guess the moral of the story here is you guys think that we will be getting a bigger 4 by January when with this balloon.
I hope we do. I hope we have that option to put some bigger guy out there and not just say that, okay, well, we got Paul and Caleb, and that's going to be enough. I just hope we address it because I still feel that that's something we need to help us.
Yeah. Hart's heart helps with rebounding. Hart doesn't help you guard Giannis. That has nothing to do with Hart. I mean, you can have all the heart you want, but that's not going to keep you in front of Giannis.
Yeah, I mean, he got his rebounds. He's a great rebounder especially for his size, but is looked at as extra and great because of his size.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. If he was 6'9", 6'10", if he was Tobias Harris, we wouldn't call him a great rebounder.
Yeah. He's doing a job.
Yeah, it's expected.
Yeah, they're just like he's getting rebounds. He's tall. He should be getting them.
Yeah. So our last YouTube comment here, a viewer posted that Paul George, this is under our conversation where we talked about Paul George's price tag. This viewer said that Paul George isn't as expensive when you factor in other players signing in Philadelphia for cheaper. What do you guys think about that comment?
It's an interesting way of looking at it.
I think Paul's the whole, in my opinion, the whole situation with Paul's contract is going to come down to how he was playing at the end of his contract. I think that's what it's going was really going to say the most is how it looks in the end. I think right now, I mean, if you're paying him what I thought he could have got on if every team was open on the market, he could have got on the open market. I think the Clippers would have paid him this amount too. It was always that last year. So I don't think he's overpaid per se. And I do think that him, I don't know if him being able for us to get other people doesn't necessarily mean that he isn't necessarily overpaid in the views of some people. There are some people that still view him as being overpaid. I'm not saying I'm one of them, but I'm saying there are people that view him that way. And just because we sign other people wouldn't necessarily change that opinion for people. Because some people would argue take less and sign more or sign better. It's just different ways of viewing it.
Yeah,
the one thing that Paul did get, he got cap space. He didn't have bird rights cap space. He got true cap space.
Yeah.
So the less he takes, the more you can give out to someone else.
Yeah. I get what he's saying, but I don't know how much of a draw Paul George was for other free agents to come. I mean, I don't know how much he impacted that. But yeah, you're right though. I think nothing matters.
I do feel with Paul George coming made Caleb Martin coming and taking less more enticing. I believe that. So if that's what he's saying, I do believe that would help Caleb Martin taking less in Philly. I believe that. Even though I think the biggest issue with Caleb is his beefing with Miami. But I do think him kind of seeing the opportunity in Philly was enticing with Paul going there. I believe that.
Yeah.
Also enticing for Kelly to come back and on a 1-year deal. Like I do think that helped. I think that all helped. I would say it helped more than it hurt.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it helped. I think I think you're right. In the end, I think the first 3 years are the first 3 years. That's what he would have gotten anywhere. I think that fourth year is going to be everything.
Yeah.
How he plays in that fourth year compared to what he's getting paid. Luckily for us, the last year of someone's deal is the easiest to move. So,
yes,
in the regards of that, that's still movable if it's a real problem, right? So I think it's all manageable.
Yeah. And we still have all our assets too. So if things go awry in the fourth year, we can trade some assets and get another guy to pair with the future in Tyrese Maxey.